Hello, welcome to the Grow with Glow podcast. My name is Gloria Anthony, and I will be your host today. I am an event designer, an instructor, and I hold occasional workshop to help event designers better their craft and make more money. If this is your first time here, let me give you a couple second introduction about me again. My name is Gloria Anthony. I am a mother I'm a wife and a mother to two beautiful kids. I have been doing event designing for about 4 years. I now have two showrooms in two states, and my mission now is to help event designers, better their craft and make more money. So some of the topic in the podcast, or if you are watching it in the video, will be general to anybody who have a business. Some of them will be specific to those in the event industry. Of course, most of my examples will be about events, designing and things like that. But anybody in business can, use these examples and, make it apply to their, specific business. So let's get started. So in today's episode, I am going to talk about how to dominate in your industry or in your area instead of competing. So basically, dominate and not compete. Okay, because you don't want to be in competition. You want to dominate your area, or at least if you want to dominate your industry or your area of business, this is for you. If you just want to keep competing with your competitors, this talk is not for you. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 10 ways or 10 steps. It might be a little more as I'm doing it, but I found it easier to put things in, steps or ways. It's easier for, people to, keep the information. So I am going to make it into 10 ways. It might be a little more, I don't know, that you can dominate, or, 10 steps as to how you can dominate your area of business or dominate your market, instead of competing. Okay, and these happen over time, so this process takes time. First thing first, my rule: block your competitors. You hear me right? Block them. Okay, you don't need to know what they're doing. Block them. Okay, by blocking them, I mean, if you are like me and you critique yourself a lot when you are by yourself, you critique yourself a lot, you find things that are wrong with your work when you are by yourself and things like that, it would be wise not to keep looking at what your competitors are doing, especially if you are new in the industry. You might not have a lot of experience, so that can be really, that can mess up your mind. That can really make you feel insecure about your work. And if anything is, oh, this dress is showing me out. So if anything I know or I've come to realize is that in business or anything, you need your, confidence. You need to be confident. You need to love your work. You need to be sure about your work in order for your clients to be sure about it. So really block them. If they make you feel insecure about your work, block them on social media, unfollow them. If you don't want to drive past their store, if they have a storefront, like, don't do that. If somebody, because I know some people might call you, be like, well, Do you know that so and so is doing this, blah 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 blah, and you know that they are your competitors? Stop that talk. Shut it down, block it, because you are on a mission to dominate your area. You are on a mission to create, greatness, build your legacy and all that, and you need all the focus that you can get. So block them, block your competitors. Along the line, I'll tell you when you need to unblock them for a short, period of time. But honestly, with you, I don't know anything about my competitors. I know them by name. I don't even know their prices. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how many events they do by week. I don't know what kind of design they do. I have no clue. I don't want to know. I just want to focus on me. Times to time, I will tell you while we are going. I'll tell you when you need to unblock them for a short period of time. Unblock or check on them for a short period of time. I'll tell you that. But first thing first, if you self critique and you are feeling insecure about your work and all that, it's best to block all the noise. Block your competitors, okay? So second thing is to find your niche. Your niche meaning your niche or your specialty. So if you are in the events industry or you are an event designer, I know when you start, you probably want to take on all the events. You want to do birthdays, you want to do weddings, you want to do everything. Some people even do it as far as do cakes and all that. But by doing everything, you might be good in everything and not be great in anything. Okay, so you want to be great. You want to be the go-to girl for something, and it's easier to perfect your craft and all that if you have a niche. I'm not saying that as a designer you should say no. Like me, I know specialize in weddings, and even more, specifically in, stage, decorations and things like that. We do birthdays, we do graduations and things like that, but we do weddings more. We do more weddings more, and we've done weddings where they have paid us way more money to decorate a stage than they pay the person who is doing the entire room, because they know that we are the experts when it comes to setting up the stage, decorating it. Even though I do birthdays and things like that, I do not advertise them as much. I do them once in a while, but I know my focus is wedding, and just by the fact that I'm doing it over and over and over, it makes my work better. It makes me, practice more. So find your niche, because I know some people do, birthdays, and their, setup is like mad crazy, and they are paid crazy amount of money to do birthday parties. I don't do crazy birthday party. I still try my best, but I know like weddings are my thing, and I'm known in my area for that. So find your niche. When you are starting out, it's good to kind of dabble in a few things here and there to kind of know what you like and why not. And I really recommend it, keeping it as to, even when you are dabbling, keeping it to just one line of work, meaning you cannot be a designer and be a baker and be the a caterer and be the photographer all at once. You will not be good at any of them. So keep it into one line of work, and then find your niche into that line of work, and perfect your craft. The third thing is to find out what your customers or your potential, clients are needing the most, and provide that value. I'm gonna give a couple examples just to make it clear. I know when I started in my area, I know when I started my business in Omaha, nobody was renting, throne chairs, because I was looking for them. So I bought the throne chairs, and then I was renting them crazy mad. And then I know some people started to get them as well. I know a lot of, planners or, designers got the throne chairs after me. But then every time I will book a client, I will, I will, talk with them to kind of know why they went with me, to see where they found me. So I'll ask things like, where did you find me? Like, did you find me on Facebook, Google, and all that? And then also, and then while you ask those things, they might end up, telling you why they are booking you too. And most of the feedback I'm getting is because they are going with us, not because our price is low, but because we provide, delivery and pickup, and it is included. And we don't have a lot of rules when it comes to renting out our throne chair. It's pretty straightforward. Even though there are some people in my area that have lower prices, they don't necessarily offer shipping and delivery and pickup. And some of them have a lot of rules when it comes to renting the throne chair. So I just listen to my clients and know what is missing, and then fill that gap. Okay. Find out what your clients, value most, what they need, and then, provide that, value. Okay. So the fourth thing is to, number 4, play the long-term goal instead of playing the short-term goal. Because if you want to dominate your area, you need to play long-term. Okay, you need to play long-term. 1 second here. I'm gonna pause the video and do something quick. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna move this. So yeah, long-term versus short-term. And again, I'm just gonna give some practical examples, because I know for myself, when I'm hearing, talks and things like that, and they are talking general, it doesn't help me. So I am going to give practical examples as I'm listing these, steps. Long-term versus short-term. Playing a long-term goal can be, for example, instead of renting some inventory to do your work and make some profit, you can maybe buy that inventory and not make any profit to use for your events, because in your mind you are not thinking about making money today. You are thinking about positioning yourself to be able to offer competitive rates and things like that in order to dominate your area. Okay, by maybe buying that inventory, you are buying it today, means that you are taking 0 home today, but tomorrow you will be able to just use that inventory instead of renting it. And by doing that, you might be able to offer a cheaper option to your client than your competitors. Okay, so that's what it means. That is one example when it comes to playing, the long-term game instead of the short-term game. The fifth thing is going to be everywhere. I cannot stress this enough. Be everywhere. All of the bridal show, post every day on social media. Don't worry about the quality of the content. The quantity, for me, the quantity matters the most, and the quality I'm not used to wearing jewelry, so I keep moving. And the quantity will, the quality will come as you better your craft and so on. But be everywhere, okay? Be everywhere. Like bring your business cards everywhere. Every wedding you do, leave them at the venue. Every free events, be there. Post on social media, marketplace, Facebook, TikTok. Be everywhere. Don't worry about people thinking you are bothering them. Do you just post? Be everywhere. Cannot stress this enough. And while you are being everywhere, make sure that you are also, I'm going to come back to value, providing value. So like you are in Facebook groups, for instance. I'm going to just give one practical example. You are in a Facebook group, and somebody, or like a bride post in the group, hey, I need help finding a venue, or I need help finding a makeup person, or I just need to know how to do these things. So you can take your time to write down an answer for them. You can take a time to you know give them that information. Even though it's not going to land you a client, you can provide that value. And the more you do that, the more the people see you in those groups, the more everybody see you. And the next time somebody will need a service or something, they would think about the girls that is always helping out brides or grooms and things like that in those groups. Okay, so be everywhere. And while you are being everywhere, don't worry too much about the quality of your content. It doesn't have to be perfect before you post. Make sure that you are helping out your potential client, or even if it's not a potential client, just like everyone, make sure that you are providing some value while you are being everywhere. So this is the 5th step. I'm going to stop here. For those who are listening, you have I think we'll have an ad break and then start on the number 6. For those who are watching, just gonna be a brief pause, and then we'll go back to number 6. Okay. Hello, so I am back discussing steps or ways, 10 steps or 10 ways that you can easily dominate your area or your market instead of competing. Because you want to dominate your area. If you want to compete in your area, this is not the video for you. I'm talking to those who want to dominate their area, those who want to be the number one name in their area, those who want to be the 8th company or the 8th person in their business, or in their area. So I have talked about number 1 through 5. I talk about how you need to block your competitors. Number 2, how you need to, I think the phone is sideways. I'm recording with my phone. Okay. And number 2, I talk about finding your niche. 3rd, I talk about finding why your clients need and fill that void. 4, I talk about playing the long-term game instead of the short-term, instead of the short term game. And number 5, I was talking about how you need to be everywhere. And while you are everywhere, don't worry too much about the quality of your content. It will come with time. Just be everywhere. And also, while you are everywhere, you need to be helping people, providing them value. Okay, regardless if it's going to bring you clients or not, you need to be providing value. So the 6, I'm going to talk about how you need to set yourself apart from your competitors. Set yourself apart. I know. So again, I'm going to give a couple example cooking. Setting yourself apart. I was saying before that I have my niche, which is wedding and stage setup. I know I live in the Midwest, and then most of the weddings in the Midwest are rustic, vintage, and things like that. While they are beautiful and all, being an immigrant myself, being an immigrant myself, I know that we do our weddings are more ethnic, and we use a lot of bling and things like that. So we might be falling on the more on the modern um side of things. And I know, like me, there are a lot of immigrants, family in the Midwest, not just from Africa, but from Asia, Hispanics and things like that. But a lot of the companies, a lot of the big name companies in my area provide mostly rustic stuff. So I kind of realized that there is a market there that needs to be filled. It is a risk because I might be focusing on the modern side of things and then missing out on all the clients who want the rustic setup. But I know that it is something that will help me set myself apart. So I know I do a few, rustic weddings here and there, but most of the events I do are more, glam and bling, modern, ethnic. So we've done weddings for people, for like, Indian families, Pakistanese, Vietnamese, lots of Nepalese event, lots of Africans event. So we do a lot of ethnic wedding, and we do a lot of modern bling and the glam. Every once in a while we do rustic events or whatnot. So that was one thing that I try to set myself apart, even though in my area I know a lot of the big you know a lot of the big companies are are doing rustic and all that, even as far as bringing Dior chairs, clear, chivalry chairs and all that. I was the first, I think I'm in the first in my area to have a full inventory for those things. It is a risk, but I also knew that there is the market. There are some people who really need that, and they might settle for the rustic or the simple setup because they don't have any other choice. But find what is missing and use that to set yourself apart. um, Number 7, set your prices and stick to it. This pricing conversation is controversial when it comes to um, event designers, or in the event designing community. People are very sensitive about their pricing and things like that. I would say in every line of business, when it comes to money talk, people, it gets tricky. So I'm going to try to make a topic, along the line that is only dedicated to pricing. Pricing can go either way. Either you price too high, or you price and your customer thinks is too high for them, or you price and your competitors or those in the event industry think is too low, and they make you feel bad about it. Whatever your choice is, make your prices and stick to it. Because I know when I started, my prices were low, because I was trying to gain experience, and then I was trying to book events and gain experiences. My prices are high now. I'm not gonna tell you that I still have the same clients that I had before. I have new clients now. I still have some of those old clients that will come back to me and complain about the prices. I just gave them my prices and stick to it. And I do not regret starting out with a lower price. I do not regret it. And then I do not regret now having to say no to those clients that have helped me in the beginning, or not be able to, service them. There is a reason for everybody in your life and everybody in your business. There is a season for everything. They help you at that, stage. You were able to do their event for them cheaper for you to gain experience and exposure. Now you are growing, you need a new clientele. Okay, so don't, it gets really sticky when it comes to pricing, but whatever your decision is or whatever your price is, set them up and stick to it. Okay, don't let your clients influence you, or don't let your competitors or those in the event industry make you feel bad about your pricing. As long as it makes sense to you business wise, because you might not be making money today, but what you are gaining back is much more than the money that you would have making. As long as you have a strategy behind it and you have a plan behind your pricing, make it and stick to it. Number 8, consistency. Be consistent. I don't need to give any example when it comes to consistency. Consistency in your work. Your work, if your work needs to be great all the time. Consistency when it comes to how you show up in your community. Consistency when it comes to how you are presenting yourself on social media. Consistency on how you post, how many times you post. If you post every day, of course, I myself I slack sometimes, but I try to stay consistent as much as I can. Consistency when it comes to your processes. Okay, so I cannot say this enough. Be consistent. Be consistent. That's going to make you stand out. That's going to help your clients or those in your community trust you, because you need that trust in order to build that reputation and be able to dominate in your area. Okay. Number 9, have a clear and concise process. Is even my process is listed on my website, and that's the same process that I follow behind. The scene is a clear it's a clear and concise process. We talk on the phone, or we message or whatever. We email you some questions to help us determine what you need for your event. We set up a consultation. At that consultation, we go over our prices and everything. You book us, you sign your contract, or we send you an estimate and you book later, you sign your contract. And then we set up a design meeting a month before the wedding. You just kind of set up a go over everything, set up a sample if needed, and we visit the venue. At least the latest, we need to visit the venue at least 3 days before the event. You just kind of go over everything, and then your final guest, your final guest count is due 2 weeks before the event, and it's the same time that your final payment is due. Deposit is 25 to 50% down. So that's my I've done it so many times that I know all that by heart. So that's your process needs to be clear and concise, because your clients will want to know that. And it makes it easy, because especially if you are in the events industry, you might be selling, you might think you are selling a design, decor, and all that, but the main thing you are selling or providing is convenience. So you got to make sure that everything when it comes to you is convenient to your client. Your process is convenient so that they can easily understand it, and so that it makes their life easier. So yeah, have a clear and concise process that is easy for your client to understand. Make your client's life convenience. So the last thing, which is number 10, will be unblock your competitors. I was trying to play around with this one. I'm going to tell you a quick story about the blocking and unblocking of your competitors right here. So I have a friend of mine. I'm not going to say her name, but if she watches this, she's going to know I'm talking about her. I'm sorry. So I have a close friend of mine. I have a lot of friends in the event industry, lots of friends. So when I met her, she was at the beginning stage of her business. So I think I started a bit earlier than her, but she was also at the beginning stage of her business. So, and then every time she would call me, and she lives in another city, in another state than me. So every time she would call me, she would talk about this other designer in her area that not necessarily she does envy. She doesn't envy her, but she just really admire her work. She admires her work, and she will talk about her work all the time. She will talk about some design she has done. She will talk about the prices that she charges. She will talk about, it's just on and on. And it was annoying me because my rule, ever since I started from reading some book and listening to some talks, my rule is to not give 2 cents about my competitors. Even if they're a big name in my areas, I don't care, because it makes you unconscious, subconsciously, it makes you feel insecure about your work. So she would talk about her work all the time, and the level of her work, of my friend's work at that time, was not at the level of that designer in her area. So she would really talk about her and admire her, that she wants to be able to do those setups one day. And then I just kept getting annoyed, and she noticed it one day, because I wasn't saying anything back and everything. And then she told me, I can feel that you are annoyed by me talking about her. Like, yes, I am annoyed. I haven't said anything because I don't want to be rude to you. And mind you, at that time, she and I haven't been friends for that long for me to be comfortable, telling her that I'm getting annoyed by it. But you can sense it. We were on the phone. So she sensed it. She was like, Gloria, it seems like you are getting annoyed by me talking about this lady. Like, yes, I'm annoyed. Very, very annoyed. Don't focus on her. Stop looking at her page. Stop looking at her work and focus on yours. And before you know it, you will be at her level or more. So I told her to block this lady on social media. I don't know if she blocked her or she just stopped looking. But from that day, she hasn't told me anything. She hasn't told me anything about her until, I believe, 9 months from that time, or even less. She was designing big weddings, like her business, my friend, her business was booming. She was designing crazy wedding, and I just I went to this lady, I went to this other designer's page, this other lady that she was admiring or whatever in her area. I went to her page to kind of see her work, compare it to my friends now work. And I'm looking at them, and the level of my friend's work is actually higher than the lady that she was admiring work. So I call her, I say, hey girl, have you checked, so and so's, page, lately? She said, no, like I haven't looked since we talked about it. Like I stopped looking at her work. I don't know. I say, okay, go look at her page and check it with yours and let me know what you think. She did, and she's like, I'm not ready. And she checked, she was like, now that I'm looking at it, I'm not too impressed by her work. And I told her, you know what I think? I think your work is actually now better. I'm not saying the other designer's work is not good as my friend, but I just look at it and I'm like, girl, the level that you are at right now, you like surpassed her. You surpassed her. Your work is way better than hers. Uh, and just to tell you that my rule when it comes to dealing with my competitors is I put my hands down, I put my head down, and I focus on my work, meaning that I'm not, checking on them. I'm not checking on them, just doing my work, perfecting my work. And then every once in a while, I lift my hands up, meaning, I'm locking them or go, check on their page and see where we are. And usually I put my heads down, I work, I lift my heads up. I'm like, oh, look at you, girl. You are in the big girls, league now. So it just so every once in a while I'll check just to give myself that prop, just to give myself, hey girl, you're doing it. Your work has improved. You are doing it, just to give your soul every once in a while, check it out to see where you are. And then as soon as you are done checking, block them or stop looking at it again, and put your hands back up, put your head, I don't know, put your head back down and focus on your work. So that's what I do when it comes to blocking and unblocking my competitors. I haven't blocked them on social media, but it's just a way for me to tell you to stop checking on them, to stop, asking about their prices, and then all that. It's just gonna make you focused on their stuff while you are missing out your chance right here. So focus on you, focus on your stuff, and then every once in a while, lift your hands up. Lift your heads up to see where you are, to just kind of give yourself a boost, to just kind of give yourself, hey girl, you doing it, compliment yourself. And be, proud of, how far you have come. And then put your head back down and work on your business. So I hope you have learned something from this talk. And then I cannot wait to see you dominate your area. I am dominating mine, and this is just the beginning, and I can't wait for you to do the same. And this was Gloria Anthony and the podcast Grow with Glow podcast. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing with event designers or whatnot, I have my Facebook group, which is GloGlo Decor Institute. I haven't said this before, but if you are in the Midwest and you need wedding or events, services, we travel all over the U.S. Our showroom is in Omaha and Kansas City, but we travel all over the Midwest. Go on our website, gloglocreations.com, and see you next week. Bye-bye. Well, like, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.